Good afternoon to you. It is morning here, but I know it's afternoon where you are. And I just want to say I am so happy to be here with you to talk about one of my favorite topics. And we will get started right away from digital divide to frontier dividend, intergenerational AI for inclusive recovery.
Picture a 75-year-old grandmother in rural Kenya who's never owned a computer. Now picture her 16-year-old granddaughter who learned to code on a borrowed smartphone. Conventional wisdom says one is being left behind by technology while the other races ahead. But when these two work together, when the grandmother's decades of community knowledge meets her granddaughter's digital fluency, they create innovations that neither Silicon Valley nor Shenzhen have imagined. This isn't a heartwarming anecdote. This is a £2 trillion opportunity that most of the entrepreneurial world is completely missing.
I hope I've gotten your attention, but if I haven't, let me give you some of the raw numbers. 2 billion adults over 60 will inhabit the planet by 2030, representing 40% of global wealth and unprecedented market power. And I've talked about this at several different conferences and different places, so this isn't new. What is new, though, is looking at the 2 billion people under 25 at the same time. These are digital natives entering the workforce, driving technological innovation, also at an unprecedented speed. So the market opportunity is 2 trillion, the untapped value in designing AI solutions that bridge both of these generations. Most organizations see these as separate markets. Visionary entrepreneurs see this as the intersection of the greatest opportunity of our generation. And so stay with me as I talk more about the economic imperative and why this matters so much. The cost of doing nothing. The UK alone loses 63 billion annually to digital skills shortages, skills they can't fill. Globally, businesses are hemorrhaging productivity because they haven't cracked intergenerational technology transfer. Meanwhile, the global AI market races towards 4.8 trillion by 2033, yet fewer than 5% of AI startups designed for intergenerational use. And I'll give you some specific examples of how it can be done. Let's talk a little bit about the silver economy. Older adults control 40% of global wealth, and Gen Z will compromise 30% of the workforce by 2030. The question isn't whether these generations will interact, it's whether your innovations will facilitate it. This isn't corporate social responsibility. I want to be very clear. This is the ability to capture market share that currently is not even being looked at. So let's talk a little bit about the research, and I'm going to start with Microsoft. Microsoft is redefining firms and the workplace. They're talking about a frontier firm, so that will be reshaping work, but who gets to be a part of it is the real question. So let's look at it. Microsoft 2025 Work Trend Index, and you can go look it up, it's available free, reveals a new organizational model emerging, one that could redefine the future of work for everyone, or, and this is key for us, and this is why I work so hard on this, or leave many behind. And it is true that AI is moving so fast that many people can't keep up. But we can at least make an effort to awareness like we're doing today. So what are frontier firms? Just so you know what Microsoft is defining as a frontier firm, is an AI native and a human-led organization built on intelligence on the tap that scale human agent collaboration at their core. So it's not just the human, it's not just the AI, it is man and machine together giving tasks that must be completed together, not separate. So and it embeds AI strategy. AI isn't just a tool, it's woven into the workflows, structure, and strategic decision making. I gave a presentation earlier today on how the curriculum, the academic curriculum, needs to stop looking as it does currently as AI as an elective or an add-in, but to embed more AI throughout the entire curriculum so that the students could get more practice, more awareness, and be more productive when they get to the workforce. And hybrid teams are evolving towards fluid work charts with human AI teams replacing static hierarchies. So the current organizational structure is very hierarchical. You know who is who. What they're saying is it is not just going to be the person on the work floor. It is going to be the person and the AI that is the AI agent that is facilitating to help get those tasks, help get the work done. So they're looking at work charts, not org charts. And that's a very key and big difference, that they're not separating the human and the AI together. So now I got so excited. Let me go back to my notes. The research from the International Workplace Group says that every entrepreneur should rethink their strategy. And why? Their research shows that 82% of senior directors say AI innovations introduced by younger colleagues have unlocked new business opportunities. 59% of younger employees are actively coaching older colleagues on AI tools, with 80% of senior directors reporting this support allows them to focus on higher value tasks. So yes, the AI is doing more of the work, but it's doing the lower end work, and some of the other intellectual work is being done by the human. Workers using AI save an average of 55 minutes per day, nearly an extra working day. So what does this mean? This intergenerational collaboration isn't just nice, it's driving measurable business results, as we have just seen. Let me give you another example of another piece of research that has been done. Inside the MIT Media's lab, they co-designed, not condescended, with their with older people to help design a better MemPal, an AI wearable assistant, co-designed with older adults to help those with memory challenges. Unlike typical tech solutions designed for older adults, this was designed with them. And so this is key. When you do that, the elder person has some ownership. And in this particular case, there was some advocacy, and not just the ones who had experienced the design benefits, but others. Carol's transformation, previous medication reminders failed because they lack context. MemPal, co-created by young AI developers and older adults, learned to recognize when Carol finished eating before suggesting medication, because timing habits matter more than any algorithm precision. And so Carol and other folks thought, and very rightfully so, I'm not learning technology. I am teaching it what matters most to me. And that's an important insight for us to know, that it's not just about the technology, but it's also about the behaviors that it can shape and change. And I want to give you one last example from the Global South innovation, ag tech revolution, because ag tech is big in developing countries. Esther Kamani's innovation, a young Kenyan developer, created an AI pest detection system that's solar powered and detects infestation in 5 seconds, reducing crop loss by 33%. But it works because it incorporates the elder farmer's generational knowledge of pest patterns. So the Plant Village New Rule, that's the name of the app, app now serves 10 million farmers across Africa, delivering 30% yield increases by combining youth's technology prowess with elders' wisdom about local agricultural conditions and traditional farming practices. So the pattern, technology that respects experiential knowledge, doesn't just work better, it scales faster and generates more value to communities. This is reciprocal innovation, not technological colonialism. And that is key. That's the elephant in the room because the critical question is who benefits? Who defines the problems? Are older adults consultant tokens, or do they have genuine agency in identifying what needs solving? Who owns the solution? Is knowledge extracted from communities or co created with them? There is a profound difference. And finally, who makes the money? Does value flow back to those who contributed their wisdom or just to those who coded the algorithm? In Bangladesh, where 73% of older adults live in intergenerational households, the opportunity isn't AI for individual independence, it's AI for collective decision making. In Nigeria, elders are training AI to preserve indigenous languages. This is culture teaching technology, not the reverse. And that's why it works better. So I've giving you a lot of the research that has gone on both in the academy as well as in the private sector. And so what I've developed is a bridge framework. How do we continue to magnify the results from blending the work of the youth and the elders? And first, you can't do it without having both of them included, and by definition, that makes it a diverse team. But also, it's diversity of thought, it's diversity of experience, it's a lot of diversity is included when you say intergenerational diversity. Respect experiential knowledge. Some of those elders in the village may not understand the technology, but they know when their crops are ready and they can give you that knowledge. The same thing with a 40-year-old nurse. She might not understand the technology, but she knows the behavior and she can help you inform the technology. So we have to respect the experiential knowledge, integrate across generations. And I've been talking about the youth and the elders, but there's several generations in between. So you don't want to leave any of them behind, because the more you have, the more and the better the product, the services it's going to be. Because again, you have more diversity of thought, diversity of intellect, diversity of perspective. So integrate across the generations, design with, not for. This is very key. And the example with the wearable medication application, they might not be able to tell you what technology work, but they could tell you how they take their medication. So it's not designing for them in the absence of them or having them in some lab. It's them sitting side by side at the table in the room. And that's just that one example. But the same thing goes with the farmers. The same thing goes with the other applications we talked about, and generate a shared value. Ensure that the outcomes of intergenerational innovation create value and benefits that are equitably distributed across age groups. Not that the young people who are developing the technology get to reap all the rewards and the elders don't get compensated at all for some of their input and contribution. And then evaluate inclusively, develop comprehensive assessment frameworks that measure the impact of intergenerational solutions on diverse user group, not just narrow metrics as we have done in the past. So you might say, Joanne, well, where can we start? Which markets can we look at? I'm just going to give you three, but there are a multitude of markets depending on your interest, your passion, and where you choose to play. Healthcare, as we've already talked about, and aging tech. This is a big market. The market value will exceed 30 billion, it is forecast, by 2030. The MIT-style co-design solutions for medication management and chronic disease monitoring and mental health support, mental health is a big one, are just the beginning. The winners will be those who design with older results from the very beginning, not afterwards. Also big, and it's big now and will continue to be big, is the financial markets. The UK alone will see 2.3 trillion pounds in generational wealth transfer over the next 20 years. AI tools that facilitate intergenerational financial planning, education, and legacy management will capture enormous value if they're designed for both generations simultaneously. And finally, in the global south, agriculture, India will have 450 million people over 60 by 2050. Kenya's proven model, combining elder agricultural wisdom with youth technological innovation, is delivering 30% yield increases. This scales across the global south. So, your challenge from me to you. For those of you who have an entrepreneurial mindset or have entrepreneurs in your families or are entrepreneurs yourself, begin to design your next product or service to work beautifully for both 8-year-olds and 80-year-olds simultaneously. If you can't, you're leaving 2 trillion on the table. And honestly, it's not ready for market. If you can do both, you will increase your yield. For policymakers, fund intergenerational innovation research. The IWG data proves the ROI. The MIT results show the methodology. Now let's scale it. And for everyone here, don't just look at someone else. I always like to say this in most of my presentations: start with now and start with you. Before you leave this conference, find someone 30 years older or younger than you. Identify one problem, solve it together. That's how demographic dividends begin. The future belongs to digital collaborators. The future belongs to the elders. The future belongs to the youth. The future belongs to all of us. Remember that grandmother and granddaughter from the opening. They represent 10 million farmers using Plant Village, thousands of older adults co-designing MIT's MemPal, and billions of unlocked value from Gen Z coaching at IWG. The question isn't whether intergenerational AI will transform innovation. It's whether you'll be part of building it. I hope you will. Thank you. And let's continue this conversation about empowering the next generation of AI innovators. I'm eager to hear about your experience and learn from your context. Together, we can ensure AI serve students everywhere, not just those with most resources. If you'd like to connect and contact me later, please go to my LinkedIn profile. I'm Dr. J.D. Rolle, and connect with me, follow me, and I'd be happy to collaborate and talk with you as well. So thank you. I appreciate this time with you, and I look forward to hearing from all of you. Goodbye.
Thank you so much indeed, Dr. Any questions? Fascinating, fascinating. Are there any questions? I think you've just blown us out the water. I honestly believe it's a trade-off between the generations. And if that generation, if it brings the generations together so there's continuity of passing on.
David?
Jules, hello? Yeah, so if there's success in passing information from generation to generation and to keep it going, absolutely fantastic. So one more call out. We have a hand up from Sarah.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. J.D. Rolle. That was a powerful presentation. And it's really, I mean, it touches home the way the presentation was delivered.
Mm.
And so it appears there is a gap in terms of bias. With a trained AI, who is developing the app and what are the information given so that it can serve all, it will be that inclusive, so that we will not leave the aged with enormous information just because we feel they are digitally sort of illiterate to be considered. But then we train with them and then we pick the right information so that, because the future is digital, and the earlier we get the right foundation to support it, so that the next generation will have something good to rely on, the better for all of us. The bias is, that's the ethical AI comes in here, where women are not fairly represented, so that the gender bit comes in here for all of us. Race is also a big deal. These are some of the things we need to bring home. And then while it is at its early stage of development, we begin to address the should I say the, what's the word? But we just want to bridge the infractions, if I should put it, so that we can get it right and it can serve all of us, because it's a global world and we all need to do it right. This is a bit of submission, and I'm sure we are here to think through some of these things and live here better. Thanks so much, Doc, for the presentation once again.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You put a lot out there really fast. And I was on earlier and I heard some of the questions as well, and some of the answers. One person said they didn't know if AI was in the high school. I can tell you here, AI is in the elementary school. So it's starting younger. Yeah, they are truly digital natives from the very beginning. I can give you my own personal story. My granddaughter was coding and working in AI by the fourth grade. She is more fluent in some of the coding things than I, her grandmother. But I do have my areas of expertise. So when we work together, one example, she wanted to write a book. She had the story. Her mother is quite a good editor. So her mother, in between, edited her story. I did the graphics in AI, and together, 3 generations has a book on the market on Amazon. And that's a very personal story. I will give you other stories. I work across 7 or 8 AI platforms. I remember when Midjourney had just started. The bias for women, the bias for Black women, the bias for a lot of different older people was there. As you work with them, and that's why it's so important for all of us to get involved, even if we are not involved personally, but we get people in our communities involved, so that the algorithms could be more or less biased. So it's incumbent upon all of us working in them. I can tell you, I saw Midjourney in the very beginning. I see it now, and it's like night and day. It's not that the bias has gone away, but it is less than it was when we first started. So as we go along, like you said earlier, we train the algorithms to have less and less biases. And that is something that all of us can do, and we don't have to leave it only up to the developers. But I also say we need more developers across the spectrum, more older developers, more developers that come from different cultural backgrounds. The more we have helping to develop the code, the less and less biases we will see. But I heard earlier the conversation. AI is not going back. It's going to be here. And in fact, I always say it's not just AI, it's AI and other emerging technologies. AI is just the beginning of some of the immersive technology that is on in the labs right now that they are working on. So, and I also heard the conversation, and I was so happy to hear it. AI, as well as some of the other technologies, is changing our pedagogy, is changing the academy. The academy needs to be shaken up. It needs to change. And I'm so glad something is getting it to change. And I'm going to stop.
Brilliant. Thank you so much indeed. Okay. If there's no other questions.
So, David, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Please. Yes.
My question is, what role academics or teacher can play to inclusive AI in the classroom?
Oh gosh, that is such a hard question. Now, because different students have different capacities, different students have different use. I will tell you, this week I was having breakfast with a client who is in a graduate program right now, and he works in the industry, in the IT industry, and he was lamenting that he was trying to do his work and not use AI, but he could hear his classmates totally, if you use the platforms enough, you can hear it. You know when it's AI, mostly AI. And so he said, I could hear that their whole thing is done with AI. And then I looked at him very seriously, because this was a point earlier. Are you here for the learning? If you are here for the learning, AI is not a crutch. It's an assistant. It is to help you. And if you take the perspective that all you want to do is just pass it on, then you're not going to learn anything, and you're going to pay a lot of money and spend a lot of time, and at the end you'll be empty. So I think the more serious students are trying to learn how to work with AI instead of AI working for it. So when you're in the classroom as a faculty, it's a facilitator to try and help the student understand how to use the AI as a tool and not a substitute. That's the difference.